So Basil Spence was in charge of the project. He enlisted all sorts of other significantly important artists like Graham Sutherland, John Piper for windows and so on, to design installations, tapestries, windows, etc. for this cathedral. And he came to Gordon Russell, whose reputation was such by that time that he was known for very high quality furniture. And he said, we would like you to produce 2,000 chairs for this new cathedral. A new idea, we are not going to replace Victorian furniture or the idea of pews. We want something new that's flexible, that can be moved around the cathedral, either cleared from the space for other purposes or put together and stacked and linked together in small numbers to provide seating for regular church services. So the brief was to design and manufacture a chair that could be used either as a single chair or joined together to form pews. Obviously, it should be a good example of design and craftsmanship in wood, and that was what the company was known for. And the other premise was that each chair had to be good value for money, because obviously 2,000 was a significant run, and they needed to be cost effective.
The wood that they were, this was specified, was English oak. Now this chair that we've seen is in oak, but it has been stained with a dark stain. Our lady curator doesn't really allow the museum chair, which is in light oak, to come out to schools. It has been out, but she's more comfortable with us, one that's come from the sort of reserve collection. But it would be, if we pass it round here, it would be made in English oak. And one of the key parts of the brief was that it was going to be made for less than £5. So that was the brief. They were going to make 2,000 for £5 each. It actually turned out to be a huge money spinner, because they just didn't make 2,000, they ended up making 30,000.
Now, so therefore, to avoid having too much wasted, straight back legs, you obviously have to have a slightly dish seat, because sitting on a tabletop style seat, incredibly uncomfortable. It's surprising how very comfortable these dish seat chairs are.
I am told that these, the slope and the graduation and the angles and so on are really quite critical. But it is a very comfortable chair. I think you could sit down there for a couple of hours at a concert in the cathedral and so on. But it has become a design icon.
Which is a project that's involving music students and design students, and is going to result in an exhibition and performance at the end of May. But it's quite important, I think, to think about the links in the North Cotswolds in terms of the arts and crafts, because you were looking at designers that were influenced by the arts and crafts movement.
Designs.
Yes, influenced by anything in particular?
Nature.
Yes, inspired by nature, very largely. But also very much thinking about handcrafting. And we're going to talk just briefly about C.R. Ashby, who was an architect and designer who came in 1902 from the East End of London with 50 guildsmen to Chipping Campden, partly as an experiment to give them a better way of life. The East End of London at that time would have been dirty, noisy, smoggy, crowded, and he believed that craftsmen would benefit from a more healthy way of life. So he set up workshops in Chipping Campden in the old silk mill, if anybody's ever been there, and he also introduced things like an arts and crafts school. Right, that's the last slide, and we've talked enough, so we now want to give you an exercise to do, and we're going to ask you to make a chair. But we're going to ask you to make a chair on quite a small scale out of paper. Now obviously, it's good grain paper. Following the presentation on the Coventry Chair produced by Gordon Russell Limited in 1964 Coventry Cathedral, the students were then encouraged to use the information they had been given and to use their own design and technology skills to explore the making of a chair. They were given a 14-point instruction sheet of an origami chair puzzle, which they were then asked to resolve. They were also supplied with grained paper, so they had to consider the direction of the wood grain, for example, and this type of material linked in with the wood in which the Coventry Chair was made, the English oak. Some of the students resolved this very quickly, others found it a little more challenging. We can see that overall they were very successful in producing these maquettes. From that point onwards, the students were asked to customise their designs so that they could use all sorts of references, all sorts of imaginative ideas to extend the chair into a personal version of the origami puzzle that they were initially presented with. Some of them decided to produce extensions to the chair in different ways. Some of them produced an additional piece of furniture from the offcuts. Some of them produced a suite of furniture, so they extended and multiplied their initial single chair into a group of chairs or a suite or something like that. Would anybody like to do a little crit of one of those chairs that's not their own? Anybody see a chair that they think is really fantastic? Who's made the king on the throne? Hazel. Hazel, where's Hazel? Which is Hazel? Can you see around the back there? So we've got a little bit of decoration, folded paper on the chair.
I like the table and chair set, just because it's quite nice.
That looks
quite like neat, yeah, like it would fit.
very resolved, isn't it, I think, in terms of a design. We may need to have, who made that one? We might need to have your instructions for the table, please.
Okay.
No, I think that's okay. Yeah, have you given them a name?
Well, that one was supposed to be like a quiff.
Yes, I can see that. Great. And the other one? Did you make both of those?
Yeah,
And the other one is?
crown.
They were very imaginative, and I think they were very positive, and they enjoyed the exercise very much from our point of view, and we were delighted with the results.